Hello, welcome back to Fallout 76. Yes, Minerva's back. It's time for a big sale, so all the items from the last 3 sales will be on sale again this time. Minerva will be a Whiterpring, just outside the refuge entrance. And this is what she has on sale this time. The list is pretty big, and I'll cover all the items from best to worst. Yes, all parts of the Secret Service armor are here. The total price is about 3,200 gold bars without the helmet. One thing to note is that the helmet is purely decorative. You don't get any protection or even any bonuses aside from protection from toxic air. The only reason to get it is if you want to set bonuses from legendary perks, but you can normally get that from 5 pieces of armor, so the helmet is redundant. Basically, my advice is to skip the helmet unless you've got too much gold. This is what the armor looks like with the Buttress mod. You can only get the mod from the Secret Service vendor at Vault 79 after you do the Gold Vault quest. And the utility mod should either be the Deep Pocketed, which you get from the Secret Service vendor and is what I prefer, or the Ultralight mod, which you can get from Minerva in July. For the chest, you should be going for the Buttress mod and the Jetpack. The Jetpack lets you fly for a bit by consuming action points. The Marsupial and Bird Bones mutations also let you maintain your flight for longer. Let's do a quick demonstration. I'm on top of the monorail, and there's Watoga, and there's the asylum. If you hotkey something like coffee or cake, you can refresh your action points on the move and fly for even longer. So let's go for a little flight. Unfortunately, the game forces you down after a while, no matter how many APs you have. It looks like gravity just gets stronger for some reason, and you eventually lose all forward momentum. How long you can fly is not just about how many action points you have. People have been using spike traps as a way to get more forward momentum and fly across the map. This is a definite must-have purchase if you play outside power armor. And while we're talking about this, skip the pocketed mods. Buy the deep pocketed ones from Regis at Vault 79 instead. A problem for newer players after they buy the plan will be that they need Violet and Cobalt Flux. Unfortunately, crafting stable Flux is a bit involved, and especially Cobalt Flux will require dedicated farming. I'll cover the most effective methods to get the Flux you need in a separate video. The Chemist mod for the backpack is very popular because it does exactly what the level 3 Traveling Pharmacy perk does. So if you're looking for perks under strength, then this is a very good choice. But of course the backpack doesn't work in power armor, so keep that in mind. In my case I used the high capacity mod instead because I run all the weight saving perks anyway. But yes, if this mod is useful to you, then this should be a high priority purchase. This is another situational purchase. If your camp is at a location where you don't have much soil available, then this is very useful because it allows you to farm anywhere. So if you're one of those people building your camp on a cliff to look down your nose at the peasants scrabbling in the dirt below, then this is the right choice for you, my lord. You get both foundation and upper floors of various sizes to build with. One extra benefit is that putting your crops on top of a building prevents them from being attacked by enemies that spawn in. And no, unfortunately you can't put a water extractor on the tiles. If that worked, that would be amazing, but no, only crops. This is a second of the backpack mods that you can buy for gold, and this mod reduces the weight of food and drinks by 90%. It works just like the agility perk at level 3. So for people who carry a lot of food, it's a good way to save on some perk points. And there's no shortage of useful perks under agility. Having said that, unless you're using the herbivore or carnivore mutations, food isn't as useful as chems. So generally speaking, the Chemist Backpack tends to be the more useful of the two. If you do use a lot of food buffs, then make sure to also look into getting the Good with Salt perk to preserve the food until you're going to use it. This is a suit of armor that turns you invisible when you crouch. Unfortunately it's armor, so that means that you lose all the benefits of your legendary pieces and whatever your Underarmor gives you. It also makes you a bit more difficult to detect, although there is a limit. You shouldn't expect to waltz past enemies and remain undetected. A side benefit is that it's got a hidden 98% radiation reduction and a massive radiation resistance rating, so it works like a superior version of the hazmat suit. This makes it my preferred choice when going into nuke zones, and it protects you if you happen to go swimming. It fits best with a stealth sniper type approach. Use a powerful silenced weapon and take out enemies from range, while focusing on remaining hidden. A downside is that enemies in Fallout 76 have group detection, so if you go into danger with one enemy, the rest of the group also automatically go hostile. All in all, taking out groups of enemies one by one is definitely doable. And in case you weren't aware of it, flamers are technically quote-unquote silenced weapons. Never mind the massive gust of very bright flame. I discovered this during an expedition to the pit, and let's just say that I've been a fan of flamers since well before most people discovered it with the holy fire. This is a situational purchase. The reason I say that is because you get one stealth suit and the plans for it as part of the Gold Vault raid questline. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you do all the preparation quests with both sides. You'll get the stealth suit from the Foundation quests. That means there's no need to buy it for gold. You can only do the actual Vault raid with one side, but everything up to that can be done with both factions. So make sure you do that and get the maximum benefit. If you missed out from the quests, then the only way to get the stealth suit is with gold. Then it's a must-have purchase in my opinion. Let me stress here that the helmet is purely decorative, so unless you're absolutely desperate to complete the look, skip the helmet. This is what it looks like if you're considering getting it. The chicken coop is another situational purchase. It produces a lot of fertilizer and holds up to 10. That means you get 10 every 20 minutes or so. The coop will be useful for people who plant crops regularly, but it's a must-have for people who craft a lot of explosives like grenades or dynamite. By the way, you're out of luck if you want barbecue chicken. Those chickens are untouchable. That's right, no KFC for you. If you're a newly converted disciple of the Carl Friedrich Gauss minigun, then you'll want to get the gunner's sights to improve your accuracy. This one has no downside, so make sure to get it. You also have the Tesla capacitor and the Tesla Dynamo mods for sale. They're interesting because you get a bit more energy damage and a bigger magazine. The capacitor does the same total damage as the prime receiver and gets a reloading speed bonus. The Dynamo does less damage and reloads slower, but it does have the biggest magazine. Personally, I still prefer the prime receiver, but there's a very good case for the capacitor because you basically do the same damage, plus you get extra benefits. The cost is low enough that you can try out both the prime and the capacitor and see which one you prefer. I can't recommend this weapon, especially not at this price. For melee users it can be interesting if you favor heavy weapons, because it's got a variety of elemental mods and does quite a bit of damage. Generally speaking, it plays like most other heavy weapons. The Cannon Prod gives you a one-handed, medium-speed weapon with electrical damage. Both are effective, but the new season coming in June will gift you with similar weapons from the questlines, so don't waste your gold. The Gauntlet is an unarmed weapon. You need to use legendary modules when crafting it, but you get random legendary properties. By default, it's a bleeding weapon, but you can also buy the plans for an energy mod. It plays pretty much like the Power Fist. Obviously the legendary properties are different. You can see that it does a bit more damage. It has the same speed rating and you can do all the same attacks. It's not a bad weapon and it's not too expensive if you want to try something new. But it's difficult to recommend it because you can get a Power Fist already. This is a reskin of the Fusion Reactor. It costs exactly the same and gives you the same power, so there's zero benefit from getting this one. And it's a bit bigger too. Personally, I would recommend going for the Fusion Reactor instead. The Free States vendor at the Whiterpring Mall should have it after level 30. This is a camp item that cures your diseases for free. But speaking for myself, I don't think diseases are problematic enough to worry about them. So what if your character gets dysentery? It's not like there's animations to let the world know that you're crapping your pants. It would be amazing if you had something like that, but your pants don't even change to a brown color, so it doesn't matter. You heal automatically after a bit of time, so diseases are not something to worry about. But if you happen to care, there's a free disease cure at the Whiterpring that anybody can use. From here, go towards the golf club. Keep going until you get to the gazebo. Inside you'll find a drinking fountain. It looks like any other, but this one cures diseases. Collecting the water doesn't give you disease cures, only drinking has that effect. In any case, don't waste your gold on this. If you use a lot of explosives, then this might be worth a look for you. It's a throwable you can craft, but the components are very cheap compared to grenades. It does a bit more damage too, and it's equivalent to the baseball grenade. Dynamite also seems to bounce a bit less than frag or baseball grenades. It still bounces, but not as much, so it's easier to get on target. Keep in mind that it's a gold item, so just like all gold items, you can't drop it or trade it. If you like throwables, then this could be an interesting item. The floater Gnasher grenade is just like the one you can get from the enemies. It's poison based and has a bit of damage over time. This one's not worth it because you can just loot the grenades if you want them. The Stranglers is a power armor set with an overgrown look. It looks like a modification of the T-51, and I'm pretty sure that the Overgrown in Atlantic City were based on this set. Just like all Vault 94 armor, you need to get both legendary modules and Vault steel. You can buy the steel from the vendor at the Rusty Pick, and 1 module and 27 steel per piece is enough if you use the level 3 Power Smith perk when you craft it. The set bonus is poison based. Every weapon gets a small bonus to damage over a few seconds, but the damage bonus is just too small and does not stack with multiple hits from the same weapon. A bit of a side effect is that the set bonus affects throwables like knives and grenades too, but the problem again is that the damage is just too small. Personally, I feel that giving the set poison resistance, like the Union Power Armor has, would make it much more useful. I have to recommend that you skip this. You can build this at your camp to generate power. It gives you 5 power, which is the same as a medium generator. The pros are that it's a bit cheaper in components than the generator. And it also doesn't make any noise, so that's a plus if you want a quiet camp. The panels still provide power even at night, and even in your shelter, so don't worry about that. The game is not that realistic. At the same time, once you have the fusion generator, you should be using that instead of any of the smaller generators. The solar panels are not worth it for the price. This gives you the pistol equivalent of the Gauss rifle. It pretty much works the same as the rifle and does similar damage, so if you prefer pistols, then this gives you the option to use them without having to run rifleman perks. But generally speaking, rifles are the better option, especially because the rifleman perks are under perception. So save your gold and use the rifle instead. There's a couple of mods available for the Secret Service Underarmor, but the shielded mod is the best option, so you shouldn't bother with any of the other mods. The only trouble is getting a bit of flux to craft the shielded mod, but that's not too troublesome, so skip the weaker mods and go straight for the shielded one instead. The overdrive turbos for the legs let you sprint faster in exchange for more action points cost. But there's a cap on how much faster you can sprint, and if you have the speed demon mutation, you won't get any benefit from the mod. And to be frank, everybody should get the speed demon mutation anyway. The reloading speed bonus alone makes it a must-have mutation. The medic pump mod for the torso is not bad if you play at full health. It automatically uses a stim pack if you fall below 50% of your maximum health. In that sense, it works like the Born Survivor perk and the auto stim legendary effect. But one quirk is that it doesn't work with damage over time. So if you think it can save you from burning yourself to death with the cremator, think again. It works off the normal damage, but damage over time will need you to manually heal. There is also a delay between heals, but it's very small. For full health players it can be useful, but for low health players, the Emergency Protocols mod is superior. It's better to reduce the damage you take than to heal it. The Stealth Boy mod gives you camouflage when you're crouching, but it breaks when you move, so it's not as useful as a proper Stealth Boy or a stealth suit. The biggest drawback is that it drains your action points. Of course, in power armor, that means you're losing fusion core power with every second. And frankly, if you're in a T65, you should be focusing on shredding enemies, not hiding from them. If you prefer stealth, then the stealth suit is a better option. As you can see when I stand up, it's not the overweight status that's draining the action points. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when new videos come out. See you soon.